Bad. Tomorrow, again, mid 50s. We're looking at 53 for Tuesday. That's when we could see some rain, maybe even a thunderstorm come in. But it's going to warm up Wednesday all the way to 70 degrees. Right now, it is 43 in St. Peter's, 46 in Florissant. We have 42 downtown at the Gateway Arch. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
This is the Greenbar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Greenbar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Thank you very much. It is a great day for the pet parade. It's a great day to be outside and then be inside to watch, or maybe you watch it outside. Anybody have those outdoor TVs on their patio? Watch a little Super Bowl. That could be kind of fun. Do an outdoor Super Bowl party. What's the temp going to be at about 5:30? Not as nice it will be as it will be at about 2:30. But it'd be a good day to do that. What a nice day in store today. Looks like 5:30, 50 degrees, about 5:30. That's fine.
Can't complain.
Watch the first half. The Chiefs and the Eagles in Glendale, Arizona. Eagles a 1-point favorite. Let's start with this right away. Our pick for the Super Bowl, Andrew Price, my good friend, who is part of the day program at UCP Heartland. He and I have a bet going. We did AFC NFC Championship, and I said, if I sweep this, it's over. If you sweep it, it's over. If we tie, it carries on to the Super Bowl, and the winner gets a prize of has not been specified just yet, but somebody gets a prize. Well, Andrew got it right on the AFC. He had the Chiefs. I had the Bengals. He wins. NFC, he took the Niners. Big mistake, Andrew. Eagles took him down, baby, 31-7. And I got news for you, my dear friend. Eagles are going to win this game today. Now, they're not going to blow them out. It's going to be a very close game. The over-under is 51. I like this to be 65. I'm going Eagles 34, Chiefs 31. That is my final answer. Now, a few years ago, I actually picked the Super Bowl score correctly, right on the money, and like a dummy, I didn't bet on it. I should have. When you think about, wagering on the Super Bowl, if you're going to pick the correct score, shouldn't you like throw a little prop down on that correct score just to see what happens? I don't know. Maybe you should. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe it's just too much of a gamble. But I did pick the score correctly a few years ago. This time around, I've got the Chiefs losing this one by a final score of 34-31. Here's my reasoning for that. I like the Eagles as a complete team. I think they are strong at every position, basically, or the ones that are going to make a difference today. Offensive line, outstanding. They have 2 All-Pros. Defensive line, they have one of the top pass rushers in all of football. In terms of quarterback, they have a young, dynamic. I know he's dealt with a shoulder injury, but Jalen Hurts can absolutely throw the deep pass, and that could be a problem against a Chiefs defense that can be susceptible to the deep pass. They play a lot of rookies in the secondary. They have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and those two can go out and get it. 2 1,000-yard receivers on that Eagles offense. They also can run the ball. 39 rushing touchdowns in the regular season and postseason. That's an NFL record. They can run the football and run it and jam it in at the goal line when they have to. They don't do anything cute. They just line it up and run it. And I like that about the Eagles. They are strong at every position. The only thing that goes against them today, if the Chiefs have a chance today, it is the fact that the Chiefs are experienced in these situations. And when it comes down to play calling, Andy Reid has many years on Nick Sirianni. Many. I mean, there's no doubt about it that if it gets down to X's and O's, Andy Reid will absolutely have a game plan for the Eagles today. And he'll have all kinds of creative ways to get the football to Travis Kelce, to get it to his receivers, to get it to Pacheco, to get Mahomes loose and have a little bit of time. But the Eagles are solid. They don't get phased very easily. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. As much as I like the Eagles' defense, I think the Chiefs will score on them. I just don't think that the Chiefs will do enough to stop the Eagles today, and I got the Eagles 34-31. This should be an absolute blast today. If you love the NFL, You're going to have some fun today. Let me tell you, it should be an absolute blast. The Chiefs are in the Super Bowl for the third time in 4 years. They won in 2020. They got smoked in 2021 by the Bucks. Remember, that game was not close. 31-9. Tom Brady and company won that Super Bowl. 31-9 over the Chiefs. This time around, I do think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a great football game. And again, I've got the Eagles, if you're just tuning in, winning this game 34-31. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I mean, that's just the way it goes. But I think the Chiefs come away victorious, or the Eagles come away victorious here, and I just illustrated my reasons why. So there you go, Andrew Price. You wanted to know if we were square. We are. We're going to the Super Bowl. You versus me. I've got the Eagles. You've got the Chiefs. Good luck. Again, I picked the correct score in 54. The Chiefs over the 49ers 31-20. I did that on the air, and we'll see if I'm right, if I can knock out another one, 34-31. Meanwhile, Missouri. The University of Missouri basketball team is so much fun. Drew, how many times have we said it on this show over and over again? If the Missouri Tigers knock down threes, they are going to win the game. They were raining threes yesterday in Knoxville, and I said, see, there you go. They're up by double digits. They're going to win the game. I'm right again. And then, here come the Volunteers, a team that has really been very good defensively, started to roll back offensively, and Mizzou let them back into the game, and the Vols playing at home looked absolutely fantastic. That was until the final possession. You might have heard this by now, but we're going to play two different versions of it for you right now. This is the television version. This is SEC Network. It's Mizzou in Tennessee.
2 seconds. Let's it go for the win. Got it! An amazing finish. If it counts, and it looked like he got it off.
It looked like it counted.
Oh,
he got it.
man.
There was nobody else to pass the ball to. There was nobody. You know, I mean, it was
just absolute chaos. I mean, the announcers are beside themselves on SEC Network. DeAndre Golston with a 3 at the buzzer. He does it again, as mentioned in this terrific call by Mike Kelly on the Tigers radio network from Learfield. Take a listen to this. Mike's been doing it a long time. This is going to go up there as one of his best.
With 4.2 left, he's looking, gets it into Golston, left sideline, comes into the front court. Golston a heave just inside of half court. Bang! Bang! At the buzzer! Golston's second game winner of the season. First against Central Florida, and now against Tennessee.
Such a fun call, and he even has the historical reference that it's the second one for DeAndre Golston. He did do it against UCF, and he does it again, hits a 35-footer at the buzzer. Mizzou beats Tennessee, the number 6 team in the country, and for Missouri, they're now 19-6. So's Tennessee. Missouri's 7-5 in the SEC. Huge win, monster win. They were going to be in the NCAA tournament, I think, anyway. This one puts them in a really nice position. I'd love to see. I don't really, at this point, think it matters too much where they're ranked if they end up cracking the top 25 at some point. I think what matters is where are they going to be seated? And when you're in the upper half of the SEC and you're beating teams like Tennessee on the road, signature win, you're going to be thought of very highly. Now, they need to do well in the SEC tournament to finish it off, but a great win for the University of Missouri. I mean, an absolutely great win for Mizzou as they get the victory over Tennessee, 86-85. Mizzou Hoops tweeted their television call and just put, "Are you kidding me?" Incredible for Mizzou. Now, for Illinois, this is a team that very quietly has stabilized, has gotten themselves back into the upper half of the Big Ten in a big way. They're 8-5 in the league. They are 17-7 overall. And I know people, including Illini fans, were down on their own team. Not anymore. I think this Illinois team is really good. Now, they lost at Iowa, 81-79, but Iowa's kind of upstart. They're starting to get it together a little bit. Iowa's going to be fine. Iowa fans know that. I know they got beat by Purdue last week, but Purdue's the best team in the country right now. Beating Illinois on the February 4th was a significant win for Iowa. Illinois should not be ashamed of that necessarily. They should be ashamed of some of their earlier losses. And then they came back and, locked it down because Iowa scored 81 points on them. This time they handled Rutgers, and they handled them in a big way. They held this team down to 34% shooting. Illinois shot 48%. That's a big difference there. Rutgers was 4 of 16 from 3. And a very nice job by Illinois, out-rebounding Rutgers 37-31. Good Rutgers team, ranked 24th in the country. Illinois beats them 69-60. And when you look at the standings now, Illinois is 8-5 in the league, 17-7 overall. They're tied for 4th with Northwestern, with Iowa looking up at them with a record of 7-6 in the league. The number 1 team is Purdue, then Indiana, who beat Michigan yesterday, 62-61. Then Rutgers, then Illinois, and Northwestern are tied behind them. So a big win for Illinois. They're putting themselves in great shape for the NCAA tournament seeding as well. Now, taking a look at some of the other games in Division I basketball yesterday of local interest. Let's keep it there. In the Missouri Valley Conference, Drake hammered Southern Illinois 82-59. This is not a good development for Southern Illinois, which had felt pretty good about itself in the Missouri Valley Conference in a race for the number 1 seed. Drake flexes its muscle there and goes to 12-4 in the league. They're the number 1 team in the league for a reason. They're a really good team. I saw them earlier last week against Murray State. They stuck it to Murray State. Now they stick it to Southern Illinois. They are legit. They're 21-6 overall, 12-4 in the Valley. Southern Illinois and Belmont are number 2 behind them, both at 11-5, but Bradley is also in good shape. Bradley absolutely torched Murray State yesterday, 83-48. When that Bradley team plays defense in their building, I don't know that anybody can beat them. Anybody. They're going to be scary if they get in the NCAA tournament. But they're also 12-4, tied with Drake. So they stay in a first-place tie with Drake, with Southern Illinois and Belmont at 11-5. And here comes sneaky Indiana State. They've won now 5 straight games. Their win over Northern Iowa, 80-62 on the road, was very impressive. So they're 11-5. It's a 3-way tie for second in the Valley, with Drake and Bradley each at 12-4 leading the way. So those are the top 5 teams in the league right now. Arch Madness is going to be nuts with all of those teams going head-to-head. In the Ohio Valley, all 3 of the teams of local interest lost. Southeast Missouri State lost to Morehead State. SAUE, surprisingly, got beat by Eastern Illinois. Lindenwood lost at USI. We will have Travis Ford, the head coach of the Billikens, at 10:30. Right now, we're going to take a break. We're going to shift our attention to hockey. The Blues won last night, 6-5 over Arizona at Enterprise Center. They also traded Vladimir Tarasenko this week. We'll get thoughts from Doug Armstrong in our Blues breakdown and break down the Blues win over Arizona. Then I'll lay out the rest of the show for you. 10:30, Travis Ford. 10:45, the SLU women with a great win last night over George Washington. Their head coach, Rebecca Tillett, with their star player, Brooke Flowers. 11 o'clock hour, a Super Bowl discussion, as well as a Pro Football Hall of Fame discussion with Howard Balzer, longtime Hall of Fame voter and pro football writer, along with JoeRoderick down at Radio Row at the Super Bowl. And we'll also get into our Super Bowl breakdown in the 11 o'clock hours. We'll look at the game between the Chiefs and the Eagles, and plenty of Cardinals. We'll scatter in some Cardinals talk as well, as they are getting ready for some action at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium tomorrow as pitchers and catchers report and begin working out. You're listening to the home of the Cardinals and the Billikens, Sports, the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX.
2 ways to listen to KMOX in your car. 98.7 in the city, 1120 a.m. further out. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
The real estate market continues making headlines for both buyers and sellers. The big dilemma for sellers like you is finding the right buyer willing to pay the right price, right? This is Debbie Monterey. And while most agents will make big promises, Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty will actually present you with an upfront written guarantee. It states that Gloria will sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she will buy it guaranteed in writing. Does your agent compare to that? Gloria is able to make this bold offer because Gloria already has the buyers in her exclusive Buyers in Waiting program. So before you list your home, do your research and get to know Gloria Lou like I have. Gloria has solutions and options for every seller because she knows that every situation is different. Call her today and ask about Gloria's no obligation cash offer program or her guaranteed sold program. 314-325-6888 or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Black History Month has officially begun. But if you're looking for uplifting Black stories year-round, check out my podcast, Beyond Black History Month. I'm Fami Redwood, and with this year being the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, there will be lots of stories with all the icons.
Hip hop was something that was just the most creative thing ever because it was just born really out of nothing.
Listen and subscribe to Beyond Black History Month on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast from.
Download Upside and start getting cash back wherever you roll. It's like having your own hype man. Get an average of 17% cash back at restaurants.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Average of 13% on groceries.
Get those groceries.
10 cents per gallon average cash back on gas.
It's go time.
Plus, cash back at participating convenience stores too.
Stacks on stacks.
Users can earn hundreds of dollars a year, 3 times more than other apps.
Upside, show me that money.
All right, we get it. It's easy. Just sign up for the free Upside app and start getting cash back for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Get cash back for doing you with the free app from Upside.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Arenado standing in, waiting for Crow. Dangles the right arm, glove to his chest. He straightens, and from the stretch with the runners leading all the way around. The pitch. Arenado rips it down the left field line. Fair ball. 2-run score. Goldschmidt comes around third base. He's being waved around. The relay to the plate gets away. 3-run score. Arenado goes to third. The Cardinals lead 7-4 with 2 outs in the 9th inning.
There you go. Just want to play a little baseball because it's starting to warm up a little bit. Pitchers and catchers report. We're going to play highlights all morning. I just decided that, Drew. Cardinals highlights. Tom Ackerman back with you. Sports on a Sunday morning. The Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning here on KMOX. Looking forward to that. Matt Pauley, our very own, is heading down to Jupiter as we speak. Mike Claiborne's already there. Claib's going to have the show next week. This show next week from Jupiter, by the way, just letting you know that, Drew. Mike Claiborne will be hosting next week from Jupiter along with Matt Pauley, and he'll have interviews and all kinds of great stuff as Cardinals spring training will be a week into it, and then position players actually start working out that next day. So Monday the 20th is the day where they all start working out officially, but right now the pitchers and catchers, pretty much everybody's down there. Also, the World Baseball Classic, that factors in. So we have a lot to do next week here on the show, the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. With the Arenado highlight right there, while we're making predictions, we're going to get to our Blues breakdown here in just a second. While we're making predictions, I'll just make another one. Nolan Arenado will be the National League Most Valuable Player in 2023. I think he's going to have a monster year offensively. I think without the shift, I think you have a lot of trouble going against Arenado. He is a pull hitter. We know that. He can go the other way, but he mostly is a pull hitter. Maybe it got into his head a little bit at times because he's trying to get the ball to go the other way. I know he will continue to try to do that. But when you face, and he had a huge year even with the shift, I think with teams playing you a little more straight away now, it's going to be a huge year for Arenado. I truly believe that. I think he is your best offensive player in the National League. He is the best defensive player in the National League. He will be the MVP. I'm just going to pick it right now here on February 12th. We'll see if I'm right on that. Now, let's get to hockey as the Blues last night beat the Arizona Coyotes. They win it 6-5 on a goal by Ryan O'Reilly with 1:02 on the clock into overtime, and the Blues get that win on the goal by O'Reilly. This was a wild back-and-forth game as the Blues saw their captain get the goal. Callie Rosen had 2 goals in this game. That's how crazy this game was. Brandon Saad had a goal. Robert Thomas had a goal. And Sammy Blais had a goal as he comes back. I like Blais. Big, strong guy, big smile, likes to knock people around. I think he really just enjoyed being part of this, and it hurt him to leave all of it. He was a big part of the Stanley Cup run, and it's great to have Blais back. What a great run it was for Vladimir Tarasenko. It really was. I mean, a decade of having Tarasenko in this organization, watching him develop as a scorer, helping the Blues win a Stanley Cup. Yes, there were some problems sometimes personality-wise where he wasn't happy. There were reports out of Russia that he told the media there that he wanted to be captain. He told the Blues that he wanted to be traded. They couldn't find a trading partner for him. Never totally happy, but it did not have to do with you, the fans. I assure you that. Vladimir Tarasenko loved wearing the Blues uniform at Enterprise Center and on the road when Blues fans would shower him with praise. And I thought that was really cool, actually, the fact that the Blues fans still treated him extremely well, knowing that he wanted out, and they knew it wasn't about them. It was about his differences with the Blues as an organization and the way that he felt that some things were handled. And the Blues, didn't like always the way Tarasenko handled himself either. But they put those things aside. They went out and played hockey, and he loved playing for the Blues fans. I truly believe that. Let's hear from Doug Armstrong. And I think you'll hear it in his voice here because we know this was not easy dealing with 91 and trying to trade 91. Ultimately, they do trade 91 to the New York Rangers. Here's Army in our Blues Breakdown.
My relationship with Vlad is longer and deeper than it is with Meeks, but Vladdy was drafted here and came over as a young man and grew up with us and allowed us to become champions. And I thank him for that. I told him that I wish he and his family nothing but the best as he moves on to New York and to a different chapter in his life.
The Blues also traded, as he said, Meeks. That's Nico Mikkola, that's a good pickup for the Rangers. I mean, it's a good defenseman for them to get. The Blues, however, get the key piece in all of this, a first-round pick. Had to have it. Must have if you're going to trade Tarasenko, and they got it. First-round pick and a third-round pick, and they also get Hunter Skinner and, as I mentioned, Sammy Blais. Here's Armstrong on that deal.
I talked to Vladdy's representative a few times during the year and just said that I was going to do my work behind the scenes. And then when I had something like I did today, I would take it to Paul Theophanis' agent and Vladdy, and they could make their decision. What I tried to work off of a couple of years ago, I was provided a list of teams that he would like to go to. So I started with that group, and I was able to find a match out of that group. So I was hoping that didn't change. Obviously, New York's a marquee city for all players in the league. So I was comfortable that when I called today that I would have been surprised if that hadn't been an issue.
So I know I said earlier that it was a third-round pick. Technically, it was a fourth round, but the Rangers are going to make the playoffs. So it's going to move from a fourth to a third. That's why I said that. Meanwhile, Tarasenko, I mentioned that the Blues are appreciative of him. Here is Armstrong.
Well, I think Vladdy did a great job. When you go back a couple of years when he's coming off the injuries and he has to be see if we could find a different spot for him. And that was a tough summer, obviously. And so we couldn't do anything there. And I thought he came back in great shape. He had a great year last year, and he's been a professional from, quite honestly, from the day we drafted him. That's just who he is. He comes to work. He puts hard work in the summers. I saw a video of him and his son this year working out. So Vladdy's been nothing but a pro since he's been here, and he did everything we could ask for him on and off the ice to prepare to be a good player.
So Doug Armstrong, who has made some great trades through his career, no question about it. We'll see. Is he done making deals?
Finish for tonight.
So I'll go with this. Yeah. Is it safe to assume that you're still looking at other moves? I'll go with that approach.
I would say that my job, the trade deadline is early March, and I, like 31 other managers, have to have to stay in contact and find out what's available and what makes sense. And as I said, I'm not looking to rush to do anything. And you know what? I want to see obviously we want to see our guys respond. You know, we're not playing great hockey going into the break. Now they've had time to regroup and refresh, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they play on Saturday and moving forward. I've been in Europe now. It's going to be a 15-day trip. I get home next Tuesday, and I'll see them live.
That was Doug Armstrong speaking to the media from Europe. He does get that win that he was looking for out of the gate. It's a weird NHL schedule where teams were playing earlier last week, and the Blues sat all week and they didn't play until Saturday, but they win 6-5 in overtime over the Arizona Coyotes, and Doug Armstrong has a little more time. It's March 3rd. That's the trade deadline. So a little more time to evaluate and make a deal. We'll see. Will the captain Ryan O'Reilly be dealt? Will Ivan Barbashev be dealt? Both of them have contracts expiring. Vladimir Tarasenko does get dealt, and a good breakdown right there from Army. It's 10:31. Travis Ford, the head coach of the Billikens, is next.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley. I hope you join me and Mike Claiborne as we navigate through the Cardinals offseason with the Countdown to Opening Day show. We'll bring you all the latest on the 2023 St. Louis Cardinals, new players news, and what to expect from team management. You'll hear from the skipper to the front office, Cardinals players and coaches, along with broadcasters John Rooney and Ricky Horton. Catch all the Redbirds action on the Countdown to Opening Day show.
Presented by Ameren, Wednesday night at 6 on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals. KMOX. KMOX Enter Service Weekend, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
When you hire your local SuperBowl painters, you get
the power of a cut above.
Decades of expertise to transform your home, from so-so to virtuoso.
The power of neighborhood painters.
We live where you live and probably like the same pizza place you do. Put
the power of pro
to work for you today. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
KMOX celebrates Black History Month, honoring Black icons.
Amanda Gorman has the distinct honor of being the youngest National Poet Laureate in U.S. history. She is the author of several publications, including The Hill We Climb, which she recited as the 2021 inaugural poet at the inauguration of President Biden and Vice President Harris. We salute Amanda Gorman.
KMOX celebrating Black artists, athletes, and trailblazers all month long. More at KMOX.com.
Royal Banks of Missouri is your community bank with locations throughout St. Louis, St. Charles, Northeast Missouri, Granite City, and Jerseyville, Illinois. A bank branch is not far away. Royal Banks brings in experienced staff and products and services designed to meet your professional and personal financial needs. Investing in our communities, one client at a time. Call 314-212-1500 today. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC, and equal opportunity lender. Looking for a new home or to refinance your current mortgage? Royal Banks of Missouri wants to be your home buying partner. With a local staff that will guide you through the process, Royal Banks is an experienced mortgage lender that you can trust. There's still time to lock in on a low rate. Call 314-212-1500 today. Royal Banks of Missouri, where better service means better banking. Member FDIC and equal opportunity lender.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
We are back. Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, thank you very much for your great sponsorship. Sponsoring this particular segment of the show, our great friends at Royal Banks of Missouri. We appreciate them so much. Each and every year they sponsor this very chat with Billikens coach Travis Ford. Coach, thanks as always for joining us. We appreciate you.
Hello?
Yes, Coach. How are you? We appreciate you. Thanks as always for joining us.
No, appreciate you having me. I lost you here.
Yeah, that's all right. We got you. It's probably our fault. You know, we just technically trying to get you in there. So, hey, let me ask you this. Are you watching the Super Bowl later today, or are you watching film on Davidson? Can you pull yourself away from the office to watch some football today?
Yeah, I'll watch a little bit. A lot of film involved though today, not just on Davidson. Trying to watch a lot on ourselves as well. But no, I'll watch a little bit of the Super Bowl. I always enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Do you have a dog in the fight here, or you have a horse in this one, or do you just kind of watch it for entertainment value?
More entertainment. I'm probably pulling for the Chiefs, probably. But no, not too much. I don't get that wrapped up into that as far as football is concerned.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't really either anymore. I grew up a Cardinals fan. They left. Then I liked the Browns for a little bit. And then the Rams came along, and I rooted for the Rams and, of course, covered them for a long time. Then they leave. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm just gonna sit back and just watch games and enjoy myself, and I don't have to worry about it because my Sunday is going to be good anyway, regardless. My team won't determine how I feel on Sunday.
No, that's probably a pretty good approach. But I'm kind of like that with the NBA as well. Now Celtics are kind of my team now. But I love the NBA, watch the NBA quite a bit, but not, I don't go into it, and wins and losses don't affect my next day or the next hour. So, I enjoy watching all professional sports, really.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I am a Knicks fan, but I learned a long time ago that that's going to be a tough road. I became a Knicks fan as a kid because we didn't have an NBA team here. So my dad's one of my dad's best friends lived in New York City, still does. And so when I was a little kid, I went up there, saw Patrick Ewing and the Knicks, and absolutely loved them and followed them throughout, but I don't let it determine how I'm going to feel. I feel a little bit differently when it comes to college basketball. I've got a few teams I keep an eye on. In my alma mater, Indiana, Mizzou, I grew up a fan of the Tigers, and my partner, St. Louis University, which, right now I know it's not easy, but you still have a lot ahead of you. I talked to Chris May at halftime calling the women's game yesterday, and we both talked about how you look at this schedule, and there's still a lot of time here to get right. When it's go time for the A-10 tournament, you want to be playing your best. The question is, how do you get there?
Yeah, that's the question. That's the challenge. And, for me and for our team, we've got to concentrate on this thing, not just one day at a time, but what do we need to do to be our best, to get everybody kind of on the same page as far as playing their best individually so our team can be great. I've always said, and, I think in any team sport, and I think basketball is an ultimate team sport. Every individual has to be their best in order for the team to be their best. And, we've had a little bit of a challenge of that this year, had a lot of ups and downs. But as I told our team, I believe in our team. I believe in our guys. I still think we have the best left in us, but we don't need to look at, the total big picture. We need to concern ourselves with the here and now and figure out what we can do to be better. And we've said that, and we're still searching a little bit, but I think it's in us. I really do. I think it's in us, and we'll find out.
Yeah, you're opening up a 2-game homestand here Wednesday night, Chaffetz Arena, taking on Davidson at 8 o'clock, one of those late starts where the fans can get some dinner and grab a drink or two before they head into the arena and then get after it. You beat Davidson once already on the road. Now they'll be coming in here. But before that, let me just rewind a little bit back to Dayton, because that I felt like was a tale of two games. I mean, you came out as hot as can be. You looked really good. Just weren't able to close it in the second half. What did they do to hold you down?
Yeah, going back and looking at it, it's a lot of little things. In the first half, obviously we did get off to a great start. So did they. They made some threes. We were both making some threes and making some shots. It gets close to the end of the first half. We missed the front end of a 1-and-1. We missed a couple layups here and there, a couple open shots. They convert and go up 7 at halftime. And then the second half, other than, we early this year missed some open shots that, kind of need to go down to start the second half. I mean, wide open shots, some shots at the rim that I thought if they just go down, they keep you in the game. but neither one of us could score in the second half. We scored 22 points. They scored 29. I don't think either one of us probably are happy with that number, even though it was enough for them. We just couldn't keep them off the foul line. At the end of the day, that was the difference in the game. I think they shot 19 free throws in the second half, and only made one more field goal than we did. We just couldn't keep them off the foul line, and that was at the end of the day, that was the difference.
And you just weren't able to score on them. They really held you down there in the second half, shooting 24%. They did find a way to keep you under 60 points. The 56 points was the lowest in the A-10 schedule. That said, I mean, Dayton's really good. And that said, it's interesting to folks who talk about SLU. I mean, you were still are near the top of the league. I mean, going into that game, they were 8-4. You were 8-3. You actually had an edge on them in the standings, and they were able to get you now at 9-4, and you're 8-4. 8-4 still puts you in the top handful of teams in the league. Now it's just a matter of finding a way to get on a run.
Yeah, as I told, we don't need to concern ourselves too much with all that, other than trying to bring out the best in each and every player, so our team can be the best, and so we can, start being a little more consistent, be at a high level. We've shown glimpses of it, and we don't need to get caught up into any outside, that where we are in the league and all that stuff will take care of itself if we can continue to try to just get better and get the most out of every single player at this point.
Yeah, I hear you. You did mention last one, if I recall, last conversation, one of the things that when you're at your best, you share the ball extremely well. I think you also would need consistent scoring from Jimerson and Perkins to go along with Collins. If that trio starts to light it up, you could be in much better shape offensively.
Yeah, no question. No question. Those guys can put the ball in the hole, and, on any given night, they can score some points. But when we've been at our best, when, we went on a run where we won 6 in a row in the league, and I think 3 or 4 of them were on the road, it was really when everybody was going. The bench was really stepping up, guys like Sincere Parker and Jake Forrester, and, these guys were having big games. We know what Javon Pickett can do on any given night. That's when we've been at our best, when you've gotten a little bit from everybody. And, when we've rebounded the ball very well, we didn't rebound the ball with any physicality the other night at all, no physicality whatsoever. That's when we're at our best. And, if we can get back to that, then I think good things can happen.
The Billikens trying to pick up a home win against Davidson with tickets available and a house that wants to be rocking as you continue to play your schedule. This Davidson team was rocking against you. That place was pretty wild. You were able to pull out a road victory. Just overall, scout Davidson for us without giving away anything to the opponent. But how do you see them? How do they play? Not the team that we remember from past years, but still very good.
Well, no, they were picked preseason 4th.
Yep.
They've got everybody. They've got a first-team all-conference player in Foster Lawyer who, is a guard who can put up big points. And, they've got a center inside. There's a matchup problem. He knocks down threes with consistency. And a big, strong left-handed player. They shoot the three from all 5 spots, which is always, not an easy thing to guard. So they shoot it from all 5 spots. So they've won big games, but kind of been similar to us. We probably have a little bit better record, but probably haven't played as well as they thought this season. But they've got a really good team. Everybody's healthy for their team. And again, like I said, they were picked preseason 4th in our league.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would not be fooled if I'm talking to the fans here with a record of 11-13 and 4A in the league. Do not be fooled by that. I mean, if anybody that saw the game that you played at Davidson, they're legit. They're legit.
Yeah, no doubt. You look at all their games here lately, they've all been very, very close. The ones they've lost, it's usually been by 1, 2, or 3 points. They lost by, I think, 1 or 2 yesterday at the very end at the buzzer. They're a really, really good basketball, a very veteran team. Guys have been together for a while. They brought in some transfers that have really helped them. But yeah, a dangerous team, no doubt.
I don't want to keep you too long, but a last thing for you. I did call the women's game last night, and what a delight they are to watch. I mean, they win another game, 76-64 over GW. Rebecca Tillett's teams won 5 in a row, and anybody that was paying attention saw it coming, I think. They play well together. Pretty fun to see what she's building over there.
Yeah, no question. Rebecca's done a great job. Brooke Flowers is a special player. You always have a chance, when you got a player that can dominate the inside and block shots, rebound, score, do a little bit of everything. But no question, they're definitely on a roll, and it's exciting to watch.
We'll hear from both of them next, Rebecca Tillett and Brooke Flowers. This is Travis Ford, the head coach of the Billikens. His team plays on Wednesday night. They take on Davidson at Chaffetz Arena at 8 o'clock. We wish you the best with it, and thanks as always for joining us and talking some ball on KMOX.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Our visit with Travis Ford, sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri. We'll come back with Rebecca Tillett and Brooke Flowers. Some college basketball discussion continuing on KMOX right after this.
What's up, everybody? Guess who's coming to your screens every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? No Mercy with yours truly, Stephen A. Smith, is now available on YouTube. For the first time in my career, I've got complete freedom to say my piece on everything beyond the world of sports, unfiltered, and now in video. Join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the very least for my take on the biggest headlines and conversations with the biggest names in entertainment. Subscribe now so you don't miss an episode. No Mercy with Stephen A. Smith, a presentation of Cadence 13 and Odyssey Studio. Full episodes available now on YouTube.
This Valentine's, let's be honest, Diamonds Direct knows what's on all of our wish lists this year. Just like the little black dress is a wardrobe staple that can be worn for any occasion, diamond classics like diamond stud earrings, pendants, and tennis bracelets are the perfect addition to dress up any look. For the first time ever, Diamonds Direct is offering an amazing 25% off their Diamond Classics collection. With 25% off, it's never been easier to build a perfect timeless jewelry collection. Every outfit is complete with these classics. Dress up your look with a pair of diamond studs, tennis bracelet, or pendant. Now through the 14th, take an additional 25% off Diamonds Direct's already low prices on their Diamond Classics collection. And give that little black dress lots of sparkle.
Don't miss the best ever Valentine's celebration at Diamonds Direct with unprecedented savings, in-store designer appearances, and special 0% financing offers. Get all the details at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Hi, I'm Amy Mark Scores, and I've been wearing contacts since I was 12 years old. So eye care is a big deal. That's why I see the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Birdie, Malhotra, Brusati, and Royer. Give them a call at 314-966-5000. Dr. Birdie and Dr. Malhotra are cornea surgeons, and they're experts in the diagnosis and treatment of many diseases of the eye, like dry eye, allergy eyes, cataracts, glaucoma, and they're experts in LASIK surgery. Maybe you're experiencing dry eye. We stare at our screens. We don't blink as often. That can lead to your eyes feeling scratchy and achy at night. It could be something as simple as the screen or allergies, or maybe it's something more. The doctors at Ophthalmology Associates take the time to talk to you. Visit them today at yourEyeDoc.com or 314-966-5000, 314-966-5000.
For a limited time, you can equip your home with a radically efficient furnace and AC combo from Jerry Kelly for just $187 a month with approved credit. And if all or part of your system is more than a few years old, replacing it will result in immediate and ongoing cash savings. How much exactly? Who knows? But it's certain to amount to a significant portion of that $187 per month. Big savings, saving big, right now at
JerryKelly.com. Broadcasting from the Underline Three Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Left side for Calhoun. Calhoun, the shot clock at 3. McMakin, baseline, Jay, no. Flowers paints it up and scores with 45.9 seconds on the clock. big bucket there for Flowers and the Billikens to take a 6-point lead. She crosses the timeline. They back off of Robertson. She lofts up a three. She misses it. Billikens win. SLU wins it 76-64 in what might be one of their best wins of the season. And that's saying something considering they've ripped off now 5 in a row. A terrific Atlantic 10 win over George Washington, and St. Louis is 7-5 in the Atlantic 10. Courtside it is, and here's the visual. Fans coming on the floor, getting ready to get some autographs. This team that they've fallen in love with now has won 5 straight. I'm telling you, get in now. Chaffetz Arena, Tom Ackerman with you. Billikens win over GW 76-64. We are joined by head coach Rebecca Tillett. There you go again, beating another team near the top of the league. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Tom. Really, really excited for our women. You know, defense, man, we've been talking about it. We want to improve it. You know, to hold them to 30% shooting from the field. I think make them do something they didn't want to do from the three-point line. And then just, you know, a well-rounded effort by our women. I was just saying to them in the huddle, there's a couple women that didn't play that said critical things. Ashley Connor, Belle Tillett are giving strategy and game advice that's critical, and we need it. And so just contributions from everybody.
That's a great point, is that you have a lot of eyeballs on the bench watching all kinds of different angles. You use all of that information, staff, players on the floor. So many conversations are happening.
So true. And I think that's what the team game is, right? Everyone's input matters. And if everybody pays attention at the level that you need to pay attention to in a game, I mean, how much does a coach learn from watching the game after we play, you know, in it and we coach it? So I just think really good job by our women. I thought Brooke's intensity today about our defense and making it really good was really important and critical for us today. And if we want to be the team we want to be when we hit the tournament, this is a huge step in the right direction defensively.
That's a classic Atlantic 10 game. That's a good team over there. And they were trying to push Brooke inside, too. Ty was a good player.
She really is. Gosh, and her hands. I mean, she got one steal. We were saying she's on the ground and on her knee, and she stole it. And we were like, guys, be careful passing near her and around her.
Yeah, it's impressive. So you look overall, too, something that happened early on in the game and really continued out was that you spread the scoring around. You know, not one person took over the scoring category. Brooke, obviously, with 21 big points. But McMakin had 15. Kennedy had 13. You really found a way to get your scoring going and getting the ball distributed.
Yeah, I think also just really good shot selection by our women. Really high percentage shots that we took today, which is something we've been talking about and working on. I think the team will be bummed. We really did want 4 in double figures. We had a couple people close. So we're actively pursuing that as well. But yeah, sharing it, 15 assists, 1 short of our goal there. But Julia, again, 8 assists, just, you know, really, really special.
And then finally, you're 7 of 16 from 3. That's as efficient as can be. They're 8 of 40 from beyond the arc. What do you attribute that to in terms of scouting when it comes to three-point shooting?
Yeah, I think for us, we absolutely think we can make threes, and we just need to do it. And that's really what it's been about. And I think, again, to our shot selection. And then for them, you know, they do pursue threes consistently, but we felt like at a halftime that we were making them do something that they didn't want to do. They were pursuing more threes than normal. They had 23 at halftime. So we actually thought that would be in our favor. Now, of course, it's a little skewed at the end of the game because they had to take threes, right? Because we had built a little bit of a cushion there. But yeah, just really, really pleased with our defensive effort against a really good team that was down. They were down a couple players, so that's noted as well. But excellent performance by our women.
Okay, one little non-basketball thing, although it does count, and that is this atmosphere, this, you know, sell us on, if you would, February 19th, a 2:00 Sunday afternoon game. Football season's over. There's no football to watch on Sunday against LaSalle. 2:00 tip here.
You know what? Part of the reason I came to St. Louis and why these players have come to St. Louis is we know that the St. Louis community supports great teams. And this is a great team in development. And so we've had people along the journey the whole way. And then we've got some new people figuring out what this team is about. we need the St. Louis community to help us continue to grow and to make us one of the most dangerous teams in the A-10 tournament.
You can see it coming. We've been saying it over and over, and now here you are, 5 in a row for the Billikens. Congratulations. That's a big win over GW, 76-64.
Thank you so much, Tom. Appreciate your coverage and love of women's sports.
Absolutely. There's Rebecca Tillett with us on the Billikens Radio Network. Eve,
thank you.
21 points for you. That's just part of the story. Let's talk about your defense and how you wanted to ramp up the intensity defensively is what it looked like.
Yes, the coaches were challenging me before the game, and really all the forwards. Taiwo on George Washington, she's a very strong offensive rebounder. She brings a lot of hustle plays, and you could see that, especially towards the end of the game. She started kind of making a lot of hustle plays. So the coaches challenged me to make those hustle plays and match her physicality. So I came in with a really strong defensive mindset because I wanted to meet, the challenge that my coaches had set for me for this game.
And then just overall, the team defense was lights out today.
Yeah.
I mean, just finding a way to keep their shots down, but also just making hard shots for them.
Yes, I think that once again, the coaches have just been challenging us to take that step in our defensive prowess and our defensive pride. And I think that today was the day that we decided, we're going to play defense. We're going to contest every shot. We knew it was important, to play defense to win this game because we were playing a really good team. And yes, we can score, but we have to get stops as well. So we finally were able to do that and, just rise to the challenge that our coaches have been asking to see from us all season.
That's Brooke Flowers. Women's team is fun to watch. They play with great energy. They have a lot of fun out there, but they are intense, and they win the game 76-64 over GW to go to 7-5 in the league. They've won 5 in a row. When we come back after the news, more Super Bowl discussion and the Cardinals on KMOX.
We're joined once again by Dr. Colleen Bosler of the Audiology Center. Doctor, let's address the elephant in the room. Over-the-counter hearing aids.
Charlie, it's no secret that a cheap amplified listening device has been on the market for years. But what makes these devices different in recent news is that they now can market them as hearing aids. So there is a newfound interest. But it's important to understand that these devices do not have a prescription for the patient's specific loss, which can be dangerous and ineffective. And at the Audiology Center, I love to help people, educate them, get them to know the major differences, and I want to guide them towards what's best for their individual needs.
Well, thank you, Doctor. Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. Make an appointment today at 636-441-7470 or simply online at audiologycenterstl.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Everyone deserves to get home safely, even in the most dangerous of jobs. But sometimes companies cut corners, leaving their employees at risk. For Onder Law, it's not just about getting you the money you deserve. It's about improving workplace safety. That's how we can prevent injuries and save lives. I'm Jim Onder. At Onder Law, we're not only on your side, we're by your side.
Call Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9 That's 9 all zeros.
A powerful threat calls for a greater response.
When there's a battle, bring strength.
When there's a problem, seek answers.
When there is doubt, give hope.
Not tomorrow.
Not in a few years.
But right now.
Some battles must be faced together. Cancer fighters stand up to cancer every day. And you can be part of this battle too.
Visit standuptocancer.org/American Airlines to learn more.
Together, we can save lives.
Did you get a call or message that mentioned Social Security that made you feel threatened or scared? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, press you for personal information, or demand instant payment. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Don't fall for it. Hang up, ignore them. Report this criminal activity to oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
KMOX KECK HD2 St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis. This is KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Wendy Gillette in New York. There's more information about the unidentified objects shot down Friday and Saturday over Alaska and Canada. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer spoke to George Stephanopoulos on ABC's This Week.
We have to look at each balloon individually.
Were these
and see
balloons
what
Friday
this
and
does.
Saturday night?
They believe they were, yes, but much smaller than the first one.
The NSC says it's too early to identify the objects. The death toll has risen to over 33,000 after last week's earthquake in Turkey. United Nations Emergency Relief Coordinator Martin Griffiths.
Really worried about medical next, particularly in northwest Syria where we have cholera already. But medical facilities here are obviously overwhelmed, as you know. So there's a huge need for urgent medical care, mobile clinics, field hospitals.
A New York City family is among the dead. WCBS TV's Alicia Reed.
A funeral held for the Farik family. Barak, Kimberly, and their 2 young sons were visiting Turkey to spend time with Barak's family. His mother also died in the earthquake. Barak was a board member for the Council on American Islamic Relations and always willing to help any and everyone around him.
They were perfect people, perfect individuals. They certainly impacted everyone that they know.
Kickoff is just under 6.5 hours away for this year's Super Bowl. Correspondent Chris Van Cleve is there.
Regardless of what uniform the fans are wearing, they agree on one thing. They are very excited for this game to happen.
We are ready.
It's been a long
2
ready.
weeks.
Sure.
We are
so
ready.
we're definitely ready and looking forward to it.
This was my first time, so actually enjoying the NFL experience in an NFL stadium is like insane.
New Hampshire Republican Governor Chris Sununu says nothing has changed after Democrats shifted the first primary for the 2024 presidential election from his state to South Carolina. He said on CBS's Face the Nation, it's not a move that would benefit President Biden.
He's opened up his political flank, so to say, to give someone else a huge opportunity to charge right through and take that nomination from him.
A baby in Kentucky is now the first infant there to be anonymously dropped off in a safe haven baby box. CBS News correspondent Monica Ricks reports.
A Safe Haven baby box allows mothers in crisis to safely, securely, and anonymously surrender a newborn if they can't care for it. A notification system alerts first responders the second an infant is dropped off. Within the last week, a baby was placed in one in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Officials didn't give many details, but say firefighters were able to tend to the child in less than 90 seconds, and the newborn is healthy. It's the first time anyone's used one in the state.
This is CBS News.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11:03, we have sunny skies and 48 degrees. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow. Our top story this hour, a U.S. fighter jet took down an unknown object flying over Canadian airspace yesterday. That's the big story this morning. That followed the shoot down of an object Friday and the Chinese spy balloon last week. We heard from our local analysts this morning, starting with Michael Kelly.
I started to get a little concerned, like, wow, are we headed to some type of global catastrophe?
And fellow political analyst John Hancock.
China is a malign actor. Obviously, they're much more engaged in surveilling us than we thought previously.
Hancock also says he thinks the U.S. needs to start treating China as an adversary instead of a business competitor. New details this morning about a Friday night crash in Madison, Illinois.
Authorities there confirm a car hit a tree at 10th and Washington around sundown. The male driver of the car suffered major injuries and had to be airlifted to a hospital. A male passenger was transported by ambulance. Police are not saying much more about the incident, citing their ongoing investigation, but reportedly have some persons of interest they want to interview. People in the neighborhood said they heard gunshots around the time of the crash. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
The LGBTQ liaison for St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones has met with some businesses in the Grove following several threats Nick Dunn tells KMOX the threatening calls started a couple weekends ago.
We brought together the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI, and Pride St. Louis, and other groups who were interested in hearing from these bar owners and seeing how we can support them in this pretty scary time.
Dunn says the business owner's biggest concern is what to do if the threats go beyond verbal. Last week, a person died in a fire in Lime, but Afton firefighters were able to save the owner's dog, Evie.
Afton and Lime firefighters are hoping to collect funds to pay for Evie's care. Afton Chief Nick Fowles tells KMOX there's been a big outreach.
Just people that would like to take Evie if no one is, she's able to be adopted. Ironically, some of them, the firefighters that were there that day, want to take Evie home with them. But there is a Afton Firefighters Community Outreach Venmo account where you could donate some money, and then we'll transfer that money over to the Afton Veterinary Clinic.
Chief Fowles says Dr. Brooks took Evie, no questions asked, and started providing emergency care. And right now, there's about $1,500 in outstanding medical bills. Evie is doing better with signs that her vision may be coming back, and she's still in the care of Dr. Brooks. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
It's day 2 of the Taste of Soulard, and the Purina Pet Parade starts at 1 o'clock. Weather is cooperating perfectly. Temperatures getting up close to 60 today and tomorrow. There could be some windy conditions on Tuesday with periods of rain, maybe a thunderstorm, a high of 53. But then we're warming up again Wednesday, almost to 70. Right now, it is 49 in Florissant, 48 in St. Peters, 48 downtown at the Arch. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
This is the Graybar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
And at the Super Bowl in Glendale, let's check in with Steve Futterman.
There will certainly be a brotherly feeling on the field today. For the first time in Super Bowl history, two brothers are playing for opposite teams. Jason Kelce, the center for the Philadelphia Eagles, up against his brother Travis Kelce, the great tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Jason Kelce has said he loves his brother. He wants his brother to do well, but he doesn't want his brother to win.
No, of course not. That's a great story, though, I'll tell you that. And he is a tremendous player. Travis Kelce, I think, is going to go down as the greatest tight end to ever play. He already has postseason marks in climbing. Only Jerry Rice has better numbers receiving-wise in the postseason than Travis Kelce. That's incredible to think about as a tight end, his receiving yards just shy of Jerry. This could end up being one of the great Super Bowls of all time, says Kevin Harlan.
They are ready to go for this Super Bowl. It's going to be, I think it's going to be one of the best Super Bowls actually we've ever had. Two evenly matched teams that have strengths maybe in different areas, but at the end of the day, it is very evenly matched.
And two evenly matched quarterbacks, says Harlan, Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes.
The one thing they do have in common, even though they may play a little bit differently, Hurts being more of a running quarterback, and certainly Mahomes with that generational talent at arm strength and skill, is they both will their teams in the same way, kind of like Brady did. Brady didn't have the best arm, the fastest feet, the greatest body, on and on and on. But what he did have, he had that will to win and will to get better, and that was contagious on the Patriots. And I think we see that same element very much apparent with the Eagles and the Chiefs.
Mahomes is celebrated. There's no doubt about that. He's won a Super Bowl. He is the NFL MVP, but let's not overlook Jalen Hurts here. He finished runner-up to Mahomes for the MVP in the league, and Harlan says...
The same, too, for Jalen Hurts, who's been a leader at Alabama and at Oklahoma, a decorated college quarterback, and he's come in as a high pick in the second round a couple of years ago and taken the team and made it his own. He has... galvanized everybody on that team, and he does it because of his professionalism, his attention to detail, and his will to get better and to will the offense to become the best they can be.
Kevin Harlan, who will call the game today on Westwood One with our own Kurt Warner, the Super Bowl champion for the St. Louis Rams in 1999, won it on January 30th, 2000. One of the great moments in St. Louis history. Let's relive that for a moment, shall we?
Warner and the Rams, who have gone 3 and out, back-to-back possessions.
They go under center with 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Warner back to throw. Airs it out. Deep down the right side, and the pass is caught by Isaac Bruce. He breaks away at the 30. Bruce to the 20. Bruce to the 10. Touchdown. Touchdown, St. Louis Rams. Isaac Bruce, 73 yards. And the St. Louis Rams, for the moment, have the lead.
For the moment, said Howard David on Westwood One, because he knew the Titans still had a chance. They had a great quarterback. They had a great line. They had a great running game. And they drove the ball all the way down to the 10-yard line. Steve McNair operating for Tennessee with a chance to tie the game.
Shotgun for McNair. Takes the snap. Looks to the right. Throws. And is complete to Tyson at the 1-yard line, and he stopped short. The clock strikes 0-0. Kevin Dyson caught the ball, and Mike Jones made the tackle at the 1-yard line to preserve a win for the St. Louis Rams in Super Bowl 34.
And the party was on 23 years ago. Hard to believe it was that long ago, but the St. Louis Rams won the Super Bowl. We will never have that taken away from us. You can take the team away. You can't take the championship away. We won it and had the party right here on Market Street. In fact, you think about that. Since 2000, we've had some parties, haven't we? They've all won. The win for the Rams, we had a parade down Market Street in 2000. The Cardinals, they partied in 2006, first world championship for them since 1982. Then they did it again in 2011. The party was even wilder then because of the craziness of that finish with David Freese winning in the home run in Game 6, and then a big hit early in Game 7. Chris Carpenter on 3 days rest. What a party that was. And the parade actually featuring Tony La Russa, who knew that he was about to tell the team that he was retiring as he went down Market Street behind the Clydesdales. That's something he always wanted to do. And then in 2019, the Blues threw their own parade down Market Street. So we have had some fun here in St. Louis. Kansas City, though, you look at what they've done now with the Royals winning the World Series and the Chiefs getting a Super Bowl a few years ago, beating the 49ers. Can they find a way today to win another Super Bowl for that city and get another championship? They would throw a huge parade there. On the other side, Philadelphia. I know you're getting a little tired of hearing about them here recently because the Phillies knocked the Cardinals out of the playoffs, went to the World Series and lost. The Eagles won the Super Bowl 5 years ago. They're back at it. They could very well be going down Broad Street here in a few days if the Eagles have their way and if they do what I think they're going to do, which is win this Super Bowl. We have asked people on our live stream, which is on YouTube and also on Facebook. Where else are we? On Twitch, Twitter. We're all over the place, Drew. We have a number of people that have checked in. Dan Ola says 42-27 Chiefs. Wow, not really any respect for the Eagles defense there. My gosh, Ola. John Olson says Chiefs by 3.5. Technically, it's not possible, but he says the Chiefs will win this thing. The Eagles are favored by a point. I've got the Eagles winning this 34-31 if you didn't hear my prediction last hour. Steve Cole jokes, is that game today? I've got a Domino's tournament I'm going to. That's a I don't like the NFL anymore joke from Steve. We appreciate that, and it's understandable. Look, Ben Frederickson wrote a good column, I thought, this morning in the Post-Dispatch, that he understands people who are anti-Chiefs because they didn't really wholeheartedly support St. Louis when we were going through some rough times. And he also doesn't blame fans who have grasped onto the Chiefs. They're fun. They win. I get it. It's exciting. But I understand also fans who haven't really watched the NFL. Super Bowl, no one's making you watch anything today. If you don't want to watch the Super Bowl and you want to go take a walk on a beautiful evening, go for it. But it is fun to see, I think, just the entire experience of a Super Bowl. It's always great because, it's a common thing. Everybody kind of puts their worries away for a little while and just enjoy something together. It's very rare that we all have one thing that we all watch at the same time. That's fun. Sometimes we all watch something together that's not fun. The Super Bowl pretty much is fun, especially when you don't have a rooting interest in it. And you don't have to worry about it. You lose the game, you're not going to ruin your night. You don't have an NFL team, even better. What if you're a Bears fan and you're watching this game like, my team stinks. and I got to watch this game, and all these people are happy and bouncing around. Why can't my team be good? Rah, rah. Give me another beer. Now if you don't have a team, man, you can just sit back and enjoy this for what it's worth. Maybe wager $1 or $2 on it. Bradley Michael Davenport says 24-21 fly, Eagles fly. I'm along the lines of Bradley. I got it a little higher, 34-31. Pete Graham says go Chiefs and go Billikens. Okay. Absolutely, Pete. We had a lot of Billikens coverage on the show here. And Mike Valentine says 30-17, but I can't see. Is he Eagles? Yeah. That's Eagles. Okay. I see that. 30-17 Eagles. Yeah, I kind of like that score too. I think it's a little closer. I don't see the Chiefs scoring only 17, but I do like the Eagles in this game. So appreciate all of those. When we come back, we will hear from one of the best, my old friend Howard Balzer, visiting with JoeRoderick. We were able to get Joe down on Radio Row for KMOX at the Super Bowl and a discussion on something that is very close to our hearts, and that is Torrey Holt. Why the heck is he not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? It doesn't make any sense to me. You can't tell the story of the greatest show on turf without Torrey Holt. Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce, Orlando Pace, yes to all of them. Dick Vermeil, absolutely. Aeneas Williams, not on that 99 team, but on the 2001 team. You bet. But how can you tell the story without Torrey Holt? It doesn't make any sense to me. H will try to make some sense of it when we come back on KMOX.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Guys, Glover here with my friends at Zero Res. So it's February, Valentine's Day, the month of love. If it's been a while since you showed your carpeting any love, you might want to jump on that now. We have a really great deal for the month of February, $119. That's the starting price for 3 rooms of Zero Res clean carpeting. We will pre-treat. We will clean it as clean and fresh and hygienic as that carpet can possibly be. We're also offering you a free hallway just to sweeten the deal for the month of February. So again, 3 rooms starting at just $119 plus a free hallway plus $75 off your air duct cleaning. So get it done in February. Be ready for spring, right around the corner. ZeroResSTL.com or 314-474-2020. That's 314-474-2020. Make sure you let them know that you're from the DGS. ZeroResSTL.com.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS employees and enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi, it's Scott and Andrea from Best Buy Flooring. Andrea, what are you doing on that pogo stick?
Scott, I'm springing into savings at Best Buy Flooring.
Right, because we have new spring deals on carpet, luxury vinyl, ceramic tile, carpet tile, laminate, sheet vinyl, and hardwood.
Don't forget free financing for qualified purchasers.
2 locations, 7301 North Lindbergh in Hazelwood, Missouri, and 1851 West US Highway 50 in O'Fallon, Illinois. Open 7 days a week. Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy Flooring.
KMOX Enter Service Weekend, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Right now on the Odyssey app, download No Mercy with Stephen A. Smith on some of his latest podcasts.
Oh, yeah, I sat down with Draymond Green and we got into everything in regards to Jordan Poole and what happened between those two. I also had a hilarious conversation with Bill Maher on the state of politics in today's day and age, and Elon Musk, of all people, of course. Plus, I had to talk about my feelings on the whole Rihanna, Beyonce brouhaha.
No Mercy with Stephen A. Smith. Get it today on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jewels on Hampton your first stop. Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Thank you very much. Let's head down to Super Bowl 57, Glendale, Arizona. That's where we find JoeRoderick with a very special guest and old friend.
He is the H-man. He is Howard Balzer. What's going on, H?
You brought up, you got me having some memories there when you mentioned Fast Eddie's. Man, it's been a long time since I've been to Fast Eddie's.
H, we got to wrap up the week, and it's on a kind of a down note.
Yeah.
What happened? What is Torrey? What's it going to take?
That's the great question. That is the great question. I have some ideas that I'm working on, but the essence of it is this, and we've seen this before with other positions, especially wide receivers. We saw it with edge rushers about a decade and a half ago, where there was a whole bunch of them that were finalists at the same time. And it took a while for any of them to get elected because they were splitting votes and they were all very close to each other. It happened with offensive linemen several years ago. It happened with Andre Reed, Chris Carter, and Tim Brown for several years back in, I'm trying to remember, about 10 years ago, somewhere in there, when there were a few years where neither of those guys got in. And all three of them were finalists 6 or 7 times before they got in. And so what we have now is a trio of wide receivers that everyone agrees is deserving in Torrey, Reggie Wayne, and Andre Johnson. And I'm not going to get into a discussion, who is the better one. I know Rams fans think Holt's the best. Colts fans think Wayne's the best. Houston Texans fans think Andre Johnson is the best of those
Houston
three.
Texan fans?
What's that?
So there's Houston
Texans
Texans
There are
fans?
Houston Texans fans, yes. And so to me, that's not the debate. That's not the argument, because the bottom line is they're all three very close in terms of ability. So then what happens is when they're all finalists together, then who do people vote for when you have your reduction votes? And here's the facts of what happened in that election. All three of those receivers that we just talked about made the initial reduction from 15 to 10 because there was, and Torrey and Reggie Wayne didn't make the 10 last year. Andre Johnson did. They all three made it this year. And the discussion, which went on for a pretty long time among those three guys, which was more than an hour and a half, because you talk about them in order, right? And so it ends up being a referendum on all of them being discussed together, basically. And the agreement was they're all deserving of being in the Hall of Fame, and that someone should get in, and that we have to break the logjam, because in 3 years from today, we will be sitting here, Joe, and talking about Larry Fitzgerald being elected to the Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. So there's only 2 classes now before that. And you have 3 guys sitting there. You have Steve Smith, who was very deserving, and Anquan Bolden, who have been semifinalists the last 2 years and haven't been finalists yet. So they're waiting for their chance to even get into the final 15. And so I will say this, that when I saw that there was obviously an effort in that reduction vote to move these guys along in the process, I figured that at least one of them is going to get in. Mm-hmm. I was obviously hopeful it would be Torrey, because one of my big arguments was when it's close among 3 guys, you take the guy who's waited the longest, and that's Torrey Holt. And I had a lot of guys agreeing with me on that talked after I made my presentation. So I was hopeful that it would be Torrey, obviously. I was confident at least one of them would, and so then that sets the stage for another one next year. I was stunned, absolutely flabbergasted, when we read the names of the 5 finalists, and none of those 3 guys moved on. None of them. I'm saying, how could that happen? Well, consider this, and these are the little nuances of the process that are unfortunate but are real. There were 3 pass rushers in the final 15. Dwight Freeney, Jared Allen, and DeMarcus Ware, right? Of those 3 pass rushers, only 2 of them made the final 10. Jared Allen and DeMarcus Ware. So what do you think happened? If there was...
That's Howard Balzer. We'll get back to that interview in just a bit. We need to take a quick time out, and we will resume it right after these words. It's the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Weeknights at 6, it's the Gray Bar Sports Open Line.
Welcome into the program. My name is Matt Pauley.
Matt gets you inside the world of sports. Cardinals, Chiefs, Pelicans. You'll get it all and much more.
Special edition of Sports Open Line. We are live at Winter Warm-Up.
Matt brings you sports insight, special guests, and player interviews.
Very happy to welcome on to the program Cardinals outfitter Tyler O'Neill.
The Gray Bar Sports Open Line. You don't want to miss it. Weeknights at 6 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Prepare an emergency kit, sign up for local alerts, and make a family communications plan. Get started today at ready.gov/plan. A public service message brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Over 30 years ago, it was that can-do spirit which helped the founder of Reinhold Flooring start the business, installing Reinhold quality carpet and beautiful flooring himself. Now, Reinhold Flooring is still family-owned and operated and winning St. Louis Magazine's Best Flooring Store 2 years in a row. With Reinhold Flooring, it's not about the sale, it's about the amazing floor to perfectly match your house and your life. Customer driven since day one. Visit ReinholdFlooring.com. With so many ideas you can do it with a can-do crew at Reinhold Flooring. ReinholdFlooring.com.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wheeler, and I want to talk to you about Ophthalmology Associates. And of course, they are known as the doctors' doctors because they treat more doctors in the area than any other practice. Now, of course, the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates, Dr. Birdie, Malhotra, Brasati, and Royer, are experts in their fields. They diagnose and treat all kinds of diseases of the eye, from dry eye to allergy eyes to cataracts to macular degeneration, glaucoma, and they can obviously consult on LASIK surgery as well and perform that surgery for you as well. The most important thing I can tell you, and it's what I learned when I visited Dr. Malhotra, is to stay ahead of the game. Get your appointment done, get your eyes checked out, and cut off potential problems in the future as early as possible. Give them a call to set up an appointment, 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com. You'll find Ophthalmology Associates 1/2 mile west of 270 on Manchester Road. Again, 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Pelicans win! Pelicans win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
It's 11:28. Let's head back to Super Bowl 57. JoeRoderick standing by with Howard Balzer, a discussion as to why Torrey Holt didn't once again get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
3 wide receivers, there was too much split, most likely. And who knows, Torrey or one of them, they might have missed the top 5 by 1 or 2 votes. We don't know the answer to that question. But I will state unequivocally, and I can't prove that I'm right on this, if there had been 3 edge rushers in the final 10 and only 2 receivers, I guarantee you one of the receivers would have made it into the 5 and not the edge rusher, because the splitting of votes wouldn't have happened as much as it likely did in this election. So that brings you back to your original question. What do you do about it? I the crazy part, I'm doing a show for Sirius last night. And as we're getting ready to go on the air to interview the Hall of Famers, Bill Polian is on Late Hits on Sirius talking about the guys who had just been announced. Bill Polian is a selector, which some people think is unfair because he's promoting some guys that he had. Like Reggie Wayne was on the Colts when he was there. And he made the comment when he was asked by the host, Bill Lekkus, well, what about these wide receivers? What's going on? And he talked about the votes being split and all that. And he says, and there's a lot of people that think that Torrey Holt should have been the first one to go of these guys because he's waited the longest. And then he said next, he says, and I have no problem with that. And as soon as he said that, you know what I said, Joe? I said, I wish you had said that in the room.
Right.
I wish you had said that when we were talking, and say, hey, you know what? All you guys know that I'm in favor of Reggie Wayne. But as many of you have said, if we're going to pick one, pick the one who's waited the longest. That would have had incredible impact on the rest of the room. But it didn't happen. The other thing that happened is this. Rondé Barber gets in, 6th year of eligibility, right? Albert Lewis, who I believe Rondé Barber couldn't hold his jock. But for some reason, Albert Lewis was never a finalist. This was his final year of eligibility. He was never a finalist, and I believe he was a semifinalist like only twice.
When is Torrey's final year of eligibility?
When?
Yeah.
This was his 9th year, so he still has 11 more years. But next year will be halfway through his modern-day eligibility.
Yeah.
And so, but with Albert Lewis, and there was a lot of, if we don't elect him here, he goes into the abyss, is what we call it, of the seniors pool, right? And so he had a lot of support in that room during the discussions. He made the final 10. And yet Rondé Barber got in with 14 years of eligibility left, and now Albert Lewis is sent to purgatory. Yeah. And maybe he'll get in someday, but who knows when it'll be. People ask, well, how could he have not been a semifinalist during all that time? And that's what's – you almost can't explain why sometimes guys will fall through the cracks, and then when they're not a semifinalist for several years, they get forgotten about. And then maybe someone starts advocating for a little bit. Joe, I advocated for London Fletcher this year.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go overboard because of doing Torrey, and I don't want people think I'm just, going, every guy that I think. Well, then Jared Bell sent in a little support letter for London before the vote for the 25, the semifinalists. And as soon as he did that, I said, okay, that opens the door for me. So I sent some stuff. London made this was his 5th year of eligibility. He had never been a semifinalist. He made the semifinalist list. Hopefully that now starts some momentum for him that he's on people's minds and he keeps getting, and then maybe becomes a finalist one day. But sometimes that's what it takes, someone advocating for a guy. Torrey has had the advocacy.
Yeah.
He's been a semifinalist every year he's been eligible. And yet Zach Thomas, who is in his 10th year of eligibility, only one more year than Torrey, a finalist for the 4th time, just like Torrey, but he wasn't a semifinalist every year of his eligibility. He got elected.
Yeah.
And
let me talk
crazy
about the advocating for that. How effective could Kurt and Isaac and Marshall and Orlando, how much could they help in this process?
Not well, I talk about the things they say, but
is there video? Like, could you get video of these guys saying this?
The thing that holds more sway with the voters, there was a couple of years there where Isaac didn't get in, and I had the things that Mike Martz would say, the things Dick Vermeil said, the things that Kurt Warner said, all that, and then he didn't get in. The year after Terrell Owens and Randy Moss were elected, Isaac was the only receiver, and he didn't get in. That stunned me. And he didn't even make the final 10 that year. That stunned me even more. And so I asked a couple selectors, what can I do differently? Is there things that I can do in my presentation that you believe will help with Isaac Bruce? And both of them said to me, everyone expects their teammates or their coach to say good things about them. Mm-hmm. What you need to do is get others, their opponents, to talk about them. And if those opponents can be Hall of Famers, even better. So the next year I got Ty Law, I got Michael Irvin, I got Rod Woodson, and Isaac got elected. I've done that with Torrey. I had Ty Law, I had Mike Holmgren saying great things about him. So sometimes it's just the way the vote goes, and especially when it's close. And like I said, you end up splitting votes. Here's one for you, real quick, and I know you have other questions. How many years do you think Lynn Swann was a finalist before he got elected to the Hall of Fame from the Steelers?
He was up there for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was like 15-something years.
So you remember that. A lot of people don't realize that. 14 years he was a finalist. And there was a period of time where he and John Stallworth, his teammate, were finalists together. I think it was about 7 or 8 years that they were both finalists. And guess what? They were splitting votes. And so one year, from what I've been told, Dan Rooney of the Steelers kind of sent a letter to the committee and said, hey, you guys need to decide on, in my mind, Lynn Swann should go in first over John Stallworth. And guess what? That next election, Lynn Swann went in first, and then John Stallworth went in the next year.
Let me, it sucks that Torrey's not in there. Torrey belongs in the Hall of Fame. When you look at who made the Hall of Fame this year, I think Torrey should have made it over them. I will say what's even more criminal, though, is that Devin Hester again. I believe Devin Hester should have been first year, should have been a Hall of Famer. I believe when you look at Hall of Fame, it is for the best of the best, right? There is never a better kick returner than Devin Hester that I've ever seen.
Well, the interesting thing about that is there's been some other kick returners who have been just as good in the past, and other kick returners who have been very good. But he was great.
Very good. Yeah, I feel like he was the best. He is. When you talk kick returners, I think it starts with Devin Hester.
Well, and a lot of people believe that. But here's the part of it. It's just why it took Ray Guy until he became a senior to be elected, and why there's only 2 pure kickers in the Hall of Fame. Because what happens is, and I'll tell you something, Devin Hester was presented, I believe he was 3rd or 4th in the order of 15. And he was right before Torrey, in fact, because he was listed as a wide receiver instead of what he really is. And so, well, he's listed as a wide receiver kick returner, but he's really not. He played a little bit, but that's
Did he start as a wide receiver, or did he start as a corner, as a defensive back?
No, well, he played a little defensive back, I think, in college, and they wouldn't even try him there. And
then
so,
after
Bears,
Torrey lit him up on Monday night, then they were like, yeah, this probably won't work.
With the Bears, where they really tried, and they tried him a receiver, and that didn't work. But anyway, point being is the presentation for him was outstanding. The discussion for him was outstanding. And as it proceeded on, I figured this guy's getting in. This guy's getting in because of the momentum and what was being said. Well, then there were another 12 presentations after him. And when you're presenting guys who had tremendous impact on the sport and on the game, who play most every down, as opposed to Devin Hester, who plays he's on the field 8 times a game. And I think that gets it. When you're making that reduction, you're saying, okay, am I going to vote for Devin Hester? Am I going to vote for Devin Hester, or am I going to vote for Torrey Holt or Reggie Wayne or Andre Johnson or Jared Allen or Albert Lewis or the 5 that got in? Am I going to vote for him over those guys that were every down players and played at a tremendously high level? And that's what ends up, last year what's interesting is Hester made the final 10. Yeah. This year he didn't.
Oh, he didn't? Ooh.
No, he didn't make the final 10. And I think, but that's a big part of it, because he's a special teams guy, and it doesn't diminish what special teams guys bring to the game, but they have that impact, but they have it on a comparatively very small number of plays that other players do.
So next year, who gets added to the list? Who gets added first year next year?
The 2 names that I've seen that are the most noteworthy are Julius Peppers and Antonio Gates. And what'll be interesting,
Gates, if you're looking at, Gates would be a threat, I think, that when you look at who's there. Julius Peppers, I don't think is that.
Well, I think the exact opposite, actually.
Okay.
Because I'm not saying Gates isn't deserving, but he'll be listed as a tight end. But in effect, he's a pass catching tight end. Mm-hmm. And so, do you vote for him over some of these wide receivers? And as a first time eligible, I don't see that. Julius Peppers, I think, will be a Hall of Famer at some point. He had a tremendous career. But again, does he get in on a first time instead of the 2 remaining pass rushers, Dwight Freeney and Jared Allen? This next year could be a year like last year, where there were no first-time eligible guys get in. And that is good news for everybody else who's been waiting, because now there's 5 spots. Now, I don't know that it's going to be that way, but it wouldn't surprise me. And that's the other part of it this year. You have 2 first-time guys get in, Joe Thomas and Darrelle Revis. That only leaves 3 other spots, which leads me to my solution, to the Hall of Fame conundrum that there is with first-time eligible guys. And if you look at it, Joe, in the last 11 years, I believe it is, out of the modern-day guys being elected, 38% of them are first-time eligible players. That's a big number.
Yeah.
And it keeps guys waiting, and it makes it really tough for those other guys when you have one of those years. So I have an idea that what the Hall of Fame should do is, when you have your vote, you vote from 10 to 5, right? And if in the top 5 there are 2 first-time eligible guys, then add number 6 and 7 to the finals, and then vote up or down, yes or no, on all of them. And you might have a class. So hopefully you'd have a class with 2 more guys than you would. But that makes up for the first-time eligible guys, gets 2 more guys in. And the other thing it does, Joe, is open up more spots for the next year to get into the final 15 to be discussed. If there's 1 first-time guy, I'm not going to go as high as 3. That would probably be too many to add. But if there's 1 first-time eligible, then you add 1. And obviously, if there's no first-time eligible guys in the top 5, boom, you just wrote on the top 5. And so that limits the number of guys coming back the next year. And I think that would be a great move for the Hall. I've run this by a few people, and everyone I've talked to said they like it. So we'll see where that goes when it gets, run up the flagpole.
How weird was it waking up in your own bed all week to cover a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, it was, got to get in the car and drive down. The weird, not the weird part about it, but the reality part about it is when, hey, let's be honest, when you go to the Super Bowl week, there's a lot of work, a lot of hours, but you also enjoy the nights and hanging out and doing this and doing that. And when you're out of town, it's, call home, speak to the wife, say, hey, how's everything? Here's what I'm doing tonight, and I'll probably get home too late for me to call again. Now, when I leave in the morning, it's what time are you going to be home tonight? That's the big difference. What time are you going to be home? She's been pretty good, but I certainly haven't had any real late nights, as you witnessed the other night when you were trying to get me to come over and party after the what was that, Monday night after the opening night? Yeah.
I know it's not just like one friend's in town for the weekend. Howard, you got 100 friends in town for the.
Yeah, that's true. And she's been good about it, but it's kind of a weird vibe when it's in the town where you are.
You didn't bring. I figured you would have brought her to Radio Row. Well, she's a veteran
of
Radio Row.
She asked about it. She's just going to get a day pass, and I said, well, I could, but when I get here at 10 in the morning, are you just going to be wanting to hang around all day? And she's not. She has a bad back and all that. And then of course she says, well, I can go around and shop. And I said, well, that's a good reason not to bring her.
It'll end up costing you as much as an out-of-town Super Bowl.
Yeah, probably.
H, good catching up with you, man. Next year in Vegas, it'll be you and Tori sitting across on that Friday, and
I hope so.
We'll talk.
However we get it done, and other guys have said to me, "Hey, we're working on some things. We got to break this wide receiver log jam." And well, no kidding. It just seems to happen with the receivers a lot, and it's only going to continue to happen with the way these guys put up numbers.
He's Howard Balzer. H, thanks for joining us here to wrap up Radio Row.
Appreciate that. JoeRoderick and Howard Balzer, 2 friends there covering the Super Bowl in Glendale, Arizona. And yes, it is a matter of time before Torrey Holt gets in. It's still frustrating that he's approaching a decade without getting in. I'll tell you who did get in, and I'm so happy. He was at the finalist stage 6 other times, 2010, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2019. 2020. Don Coryell has broken through. He will be recognized for his contributions to the game, a coach contributor candidate to be elected. That's what the Board of Trustees adjusted in the selection process, and Don Coryell has been voted into Canton. 5 seasons as coach of the St. Louis Cardinals. Take a listen.
Wide to the left side, Ike Harris. Wide to the right side is Mel Gray. Backs now split. Steve Jones is in to run with Metcalf. 3rd down and 8 at the 30 of Dallas. Back to throw his Hart. Sets and looks. Fires up and toward the end zone. Up high and caught for a touchdown by Terry Metcalf. A superior catch by Terry Metcalf in a crowd between Mel Renfro and Charlie Waters and Randy Hughes. And he made it a tremendous catch. Almost an impossible grab for Terry Metcalf, and the Cardinals break on top.
That's Bob Starr with the call in that terrific 1975 season on KMOX for the St. Louis Cardinals and Coach Don Coryell. You want some more? Here it is.
Wide to the left side goes Mel Gray. To the right side comes Ike Harris. Kane is tied on the left side. Backs off, set strong, left behind Hart. First down at the Dallas 49. The backs off shift to the right side now. Behind Hart, who again works with the long count and goes back to throw and sets and looks and fires. Long and deep for Mel Gray. He's there at the 10, 5, touchdown. 49-yard touchdown pass from Jim Hart to Mel Gray, who just flat out ran Mel Renfro and took it to the 5 and skipped in for the score, and the Cardinals were on the board again.
Yes, the St. Louis Cardinals, the 1975 team, was tremendous. Don Coryell coached the Cardinals from 1973 to 1977, 9 with the Chargers, finished his career with an all-time coaching record of 111 wins, 83 losses, and a tie. 8 of his 15 seasons as head coach were capped with winning records. His greatest influence, his innovative offensive approach, Air Coryell. You heard some of that attack right there, right here in St. Louis in the 1970s. It still is utilized in today's era of football, the deep passing game. That came from Don Coryell, airing it out. He was coach of the year in his second season with the Cardinals in 1974. Now he is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He joins that class. And, you know, Mike Martz credited Don Coryell with a lot of what he did with the greatest show on turf. It is terrific to know that Don Coryell is finally in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It makes us longtime Cardinals fans feel good. And yes, I am one of those. I was a Cardinals fan growing up as a young lad. That said, Jim Hanifin should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Jim Hanifin was the coach of the Cardinals, but really known for his incredible work as an offensive line coach, probably the greatest offensive line coach to ever live. And it's a shame that he's not in. They should put coaches like him in there. It's 11:46. It's Sports on a Sunday morning. Back with our Super Bowl pick next.
KMOX celebrates Black History Month, honoring Black icons.
General Colin Powell was a politician, statesman, diplomat, and U.S. Army officer who served as the first black male to be named the United States Joint Chiefs of Staff and Secretary of State. He served 2 terms in Vietnam. Powell's career in politics began in 1972. He served as a 4-star general before taking over as Joint Chiefs of Staff.
KMOX, celebrating Black artists, athletes, and trailblazers all month long. More at KMOX.com.
When you hire your local CertaPro painters, you get the power of doing it right. Detailed project proposals, excellent customer service, and trusted professionals who get the job done on time and on budget. The power of experience. We're kings of the scaffolding and pros with the stucco. We've been there, done that. Get your project started at CertaPro.com. And get the power of pro.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
As the familiar tune fills the air, joy radiates along with the heat of flickering flames. You make a wish for another year surrounded by the ones you love. With each passing year, the compassionate team at Prairie Cardiovascular will be by your side with heart care that allows you to focus on what matters most. A life well lived. Prairie Cardiovascular, here with you.
Download Upside and start getting cash back wherever you roll. It's like having your own hype man. Get an average of 17% cash back at restaurants.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Average of 13% on groceries.
Get those groceries.
10 cents per gallon average cash back on gas.
It's go time.
Plus, cash back at participating convenience stores too.
Stacks on stacks.
Users can earn hundreds of dollars a year, 3 times more than other apps.
Upside, show me that money.
All right, we get it. It's easy. Just sign up for the free Upside app and start getting cash back for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Get cash back for doing you with the free app from Upside.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show. We will be watching the Super Bowl on Fox. Excited for Kevin Burkhardt calling his first Super Bowl. He takes over for Joe Buck as the voice of the Super Bowl on Fox, and he gets to do that with his buddy Greg Olson. They've known each other for a while, and they are, I think, great teammates. I think it's a really good team. I really do like that broadcast team. In the meantime, I am picking in this game the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm going to try to listen for a little bit to the radio call for the Eagles. Merrill Reese is one of my favorites. He's old school. He's a great play-by-play man. And then I'll listen to my buddy Mitch Holtis calling some radio for the Chiefs. Just a reminder, we do not have that broadcast, in case you didn't know. The exclusivity there is to Westwood One. So I'll check in and see what Kevin Harlan's doing. He'll be calling it on Westwood One with Kurt Warner. That's going to be, I think, a lot of fun to hear those three. I'm a big radio fan. I don't think there's any surprise there, but I like listening to the NFL on radio. I drive around sometimes on Sundays and try to jump around and hear some of the play-by-play. I've always been fascinated with the NFL on radio, going back to listening to Jack Buck as a kid, called Monday Night Football with Hank Stram, listening to Bill Wilkerson on this station for years, calling the Cardinals. You heard earlier the calls of Bob Starr. So I'm going to try to check in and do that, as well as listen to the television broadcast if I can. I'm not a sit through the commercials guy on the Super Bowl. I understand that people do that. A lot of them are already out. So it's taken kind of the excitement away from that for me. I also, the commercials is a time for me to go get another beer or wing or a slice of pizza or something from the fridge or whatever. I'm there for the football and the halftime show and all the hoopla and all that stuff. I'm not really there for the commercials. That's just me. I know we're going to go through it on Total Information AM tomorrow morning, so I'll go back and watch all the ones that everybody liked, and so I can talk to Debbie about it, or Megan about it, and Debbie. But other than that, I'm not really into all that. What I am into is the play of the quarterbacks in particular, and I know that there's a lot more that goes into the game. But to be the quarterback in a Super Bowl, I can't think of more pressure on an athlete in a team sport than that. And they are the leaders. It's one of the hardest positions to play in sports, to be the quarterback and to manage a team, especially on that stage. I know that Patrick Mahomes has the advantage here, and I've heard plenty about how Mahomes has the advantage and he's played in the big game and Jalen Hurts has not. I beg to differ. I think that Hurts has played on a very grand stage at the University of Alabama and the University of Oklahoma, two very well-known football programs with high expectations, and he's excelled at both. In fact, to back me up on it, here is legendary Alabama coach Nick Saban.
Well, I think Jalen is defined by his commitment to his development. If you understand the history of this player, he went 26-2 here as a starter, bought into everything in the program, and got beat out, and went through a whole season after being 26-2 as a starter of being a backup player. And we had a conversation. I always meet with the players' strengths, weaknesses, what you need to work on. And he wanted to graduate from Alabama, so he wasn't going to transfer until he graduated. I said, you need to work on becoming a better passer. You have to, you can't just make plays with your feet. So this whole season, I want you to focus in practice on reading coverages, being more instinctive with getting the ball out your hand quick, anticipating throws and windows, and understanding the passing game better and being able to read and dissect what you need to do quickly, and focus on that, because you want to play in the NFL someday. That's what you need to improve. And his diligence in doing that on a daily basis, wouldn't take off running in practice, made himself stand in the pocket and learn how to do that. And then when he wanted to transfer, he said, well, I feel comfortable going to Maryland because Coach Loxley was my coach, or going to Miami because Danny Enos was my coach, or I could go to Oklahoma. And I said, well, who has the best players? He wanted to go to Maryland or Miami. I said, you need to go to Oklahoma. They got the best players, best coach to develop you as a quarterback, and you're going to be around the best players, so that's going to enhance your chances of having success. So he did that. He had a great year. I was worried about having to play him in the playoffs. Being a quarterback there never worked out that way. And I can't tell you how proud I am of seeing this guy in the Super Bowl, only because I know firsthand what he went through to get there and how he dedicated himself to doing the things that he needed to do to make himself a better player, make him a complete player at the position. And, we've got 4 guys on the Eagles. Everybody says, well, who you rooting for in the Super Bowl? I just root for our guys. I just look at the roster and say, how many guys do we have on that team? Okay, that's what I'm for.
That's Nick Saban. I love Nick Saban. By the way, it's from the 33rd team, which is the 33rdteam.com. It's a website that Nick Saban contributed to there. The 33rd Team FB is their Twitter handle. I wanted to get that out there because I just love that description of Jalen Hurts. And I truly believe that at this time tomorrow morning, we will have people talking about Jalen Hurts as a Super Bowl champion,
MVP.
As the next star of this league. I think that he got overshadowed a little bit. I think that the Eagles actually overall got overshadowed, and I get it. I mean, there's some great ones out there. Mahomes is the top dog, and Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen, and who else? Herbert, and there's a ton of them. Great quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts is an outstanding quarterback. We'll see if I'm wrong, but I think he's going to have a great game tonight. And I think the Eagles are going to win this Super Bowl. And Nick Saban, with a great description there of the path that he's been on. He's been through tough times. It's not like he's had some perfect career and then has never been smacked before. He has been smacked down. And now here he is on the grandest stage in football. So it should be a lot of fun here today. Also, keep an eye on, nice little appetizer before the game starts. 2 things. One, the Waste Management Open in Scottsdale. Scotty Scheffler has a 2-shot lead going in. And the other thing is a women's hoops game today. I don't remember the last time we saw something like this. LSU will visit South Carolina today at 1 o'clock. LSU's 23-0. South Carolina is 24-0. That's awesome. Number 3 at number 1. Thanks for joining us. This has been the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Enjoy the Super Bowl, folks. I got the Eagles winning 34-31.
If your business has 5 or more employees and managed to survive COVID, you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. I'm Amy Mark Scores for Innovation Refunds. Now,